Padres Hot Tub. It's a great place. It can even make you laugh from time to time. And if you enjoy the show, and we thank you for patronizing our show by tuning in to another program, we just would humbly suggest that becoming a patron on Patreon could even be a step in the right direction for you. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Start with the Discord, which is worth more than $5 a month all by itself. A sane place, mostly, to watch games and to have fun conversations, to connect with a community that really is together. And guys, as you've noted, goes well beyond the boundaries of San Diego County.
Yes. If you are someone who lives north of North County, in North County, let's just say, let's say Orange County, let's say Los Angeles County, somewhere in those environs, we will be doing some meetups for the upcoming series happening at Chavez Ravine in Los Angeles for Padres Dodgers, April, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Friday night, April 12th, we're going to do a little patrons meetup at a bar. At a location to be determined, which you can find out by joining the Discord and by becoming a patron.
Which we won't release publicly out of fear.
Yes, fear of retribution for some reason. And I will be at the game on Sunday. So if you are at the game on Sunday, come say hello.
You guys are gluttons for punishment. That's for sure. But whether it's being in LA, heck, we've got people in Spain, Thailand, Sweden, all parts in between. That are members of the Padres Hot Tub community, where we do weekly group. Holy cow! Where we do weekly group therapy shows that are call-ins for our patrons exclusively. So check it out. There's higher levels as well that get you T-shirts, tickets, blankets. There's all sorts of things. Find it out for yourself. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Give it a look and see what you'd like to try. Chris and Raphie recording on Sunday night, April 7th, 2024 for the San Diego Padres. In horrifying, depressing fashion, dropped 2 out of 3 in San Francisco in a series that they easily could have swept with just a couple more runs here or there and would have won the series if not for the best defensive player having his worst defensive day. So, hippity happity, it's not so crappity. We're going to do what we got to do on Padres Hot Tub. It's 2 games under 500. It's time to invoke the Sainted Jerks and Profar and head into Positivity Corner. You thought it was too early. It's never too early for Positivity Corner. Well, you better be positive about the San Diego Padres.
Hold me, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Tell me the thing you've been happiest or most excited about this week in San Diego Padres baseball.
Oh man, guys, did you know we're not the A's? That's been pretty fantastic. Yeah, we're not the A's, so that feels pretty good. Jackson Merrill coming up to the big league and absolutely showing up. Today's 4 for 4, playing great center field. Hasn't seen out of place there at all. Very close on a couple of really tough plays, and he's made all the plays that are not hard, that are not easy, look pretty simple. And he's made the routine look routine, which means he's doing great. Today brings his average up to 324. Not sure it's going to stay there forever, but just to have his debut have gone so incredibly well. The dude is a major league ball player. I don't care how many at-bats he had at AA. He is a major leaguer. And,
you're right.
That's where I'd like to highlight the start.
I love Jackson Merrill. If you didn't pick him, I was going to pick him. So I'm going to pick the other, I would say obvious choice, which is Jacob the Racob Cronenworth, who is the real deal so far this year. He has been good I would say, if you told me that he was going to have close to an 800 OPS, I wouldn't be like thrilled, but I'd be like, okay, at least he's not completely stinking up the joint. Here we go. But what if I were to tell you that Jacob Cronenworth and Freddie Freeman have the exact same expected numbers right now?
Wow.
Freddie Freeman,
Me
by the
likey.
way, yeah, I like you a lot. Freddie Freeman right now is hitting 333, 472, 452. That's a 924 OPS. Jake Cronenworth is hitting 304, 353, 435. That's a 788 OPS. Now, they've had the exact same quality of contact, which just goes to show in this small sample size, Jake's been hitting a lot of balls really hard into gloves. Freddie's been finding some gaps. Freddie's also been walking a ton, which helps his that on base numbers. But hey, if I told you 2 weeks ago that Jake Cronenworth and Freddie Freeman had the exact same expected numbers, you guys would have said, "Oh God, what happened to Freddie Freeman?" But turns out they're both just good baseball players. So I'm very
Tevin
happy.
would have said that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm really happy with Jake. I like him in the 3 spot. There's a lot of other people in the lineup who I don't like in the spots that they're in, but Jake in the 3 spot, good for me.
Love it. And thankfully, neither of you guys took what would have been my first choice. So we all get to have our first-ish choice on Positivity Corner. Because when I look at the San Diego Padres 2024, I think it's a narrow path to where they want to get, which is to the playoffs and to beat out this pack of wolves that'll all be within a couple of games of each other at the end of the year. And that is to be an elite run prevention team. And the last trip, which is the second full trip through the starting rotation, it was quality start, quality start, quality start, quality shutout, 7-inning start, and your 5th starter went 5 1/3, 1 run allowed. That's the balls right there. That's what you need. You need that. You can't have it all season long, but that's what you need more often than not, is to have this rotation stack one after the other, after the other, after the other, good outings all the way around, reducing the load on the bullpen, giving each guy momentum to kick off the other. And we saw Dylan Cease be really good this time through. We saw Michael King be terrific. We saw Joe be the best version of himself so far this year. And we saw you be the best version of himself so far this year as well. And certainly Matt Waldron today on Sunday afternoon. So I'm really excited with the status of the starting rotation. We need it to be a top 5, top 6 starting rotation this year for the Padres to be a playoff team and then to be a competitive team going into the playoffs. And as such, I was really happy with this turn through the rotation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Matt Waldron going up against Logan Webb and scraping a quality start in the second appearance. It does bode well. I'm not going to get into the drawbacks. It's just a good thing to see. And, hurrah. Keep going, boys. Keep going.
This has been Positivity Corner. It wasn't so bad. Guess that was okay.
I'm really happy we let off with 8 minutes of positivity for what I feel coming. Like, we don't have a show menu. But the winds have been shifting and the barometer has been going down. I feel a storm's coming in my knees.
Let's get now to the other thing. This team scored 8 runs over the course of the weekend. So you're not going to win much when you do that. Then you even break it down further, and it's a couple runs today. It's a couple runs on Friday. It's a 1 swing, 4-run outburst on Saturday in the first inning, and 8 shutty the rest of the way for Giants pitching, which is not the best. Like, it's good. It's going to get better. But right now, you got the worst version of Giants pitching. And sure, they had 3 sellout crowds. they've got their chest puffed up. They had just come off getting swept by LA, this, that, the other thing. But really, today's game you just had to have. This team is not, we're going to talk about the offensive struggles. The offensive struggles are real. We probably all have some suggestions along the way. But you can shuffle the deck chairs all you want with this group. It's still a hitter light. It's been a hitter light. I'm afraid it's going to stay a hitter light. It might stay a hitter light till the point where the team is not ready to add hitters because they're not close enough to contention to justify the cost, on the Kutspenda algorithm. But we got to win some 2-1 games along the way. We got to win some 3-2 and 2-1 games along the way. That's why I was the happiest about that Cardinals win that was a 2-1 win, or 3-2, the Higashioka game, a 3-2 win. Because we got to win some of those games. I know you can't always win with 2 runs or 3 runs, but you can't never win with 2 runs or 3 runs. And that's what this team was. Remember, I think the first time we won a game last year with 2 runs or fewer was like August. I mean, it was, I think, after the All-Star break. So this team as constructed has to win some low-scoring games. They've got to hang on to these games when they've got the lead into the last third, which they blew twice in San Francisco. And, we'll get to the pitching side of this. There's, I thought, some very questionable decisions, and there's an obvious gaping hole in this pitching staff that continuously gets poked, and I feel like it's infected now, and it just keeps getting poked, the hole in the pitching staff. But before we get there, I mean, let's talk about what's going on with this offense, which put up a lot of 2 spots for the whole game this week.
You mentioned that the Padres only scored 8 runs this weekend against the Giants, Craig. 6 of those 8 runs came in the first inning.
Right. So it's a lot of nothing
just not
as the game goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to point out that the Padres gave up 3 earned runs in the entire weekend, and they went 1-2. They gave up 3 earned runs in the entire weekend, and they went 1-2.
It's deja vu to last year, and we don't want to be saying that 4 series in. I mean, they go up to San Francisco, have a freaky loss on plays that shouldn't happen. It feels just like the blocking the plate series. Something else weird happened that series. Too early for deja vu back to last year.
Yeah. The narrative from this game is going to be that Kim's 2 errors caused the loss.
Right.
I reject that narrative.
I reject your rejection.
I mean, it did. We would have won if he didn't make the errors.
But we scored 2 runs.
Right.
Like,
sure.
we scored
Not
2 runs.
Sure, but like Craig said, you're going to have to win these are the games where you need to be. They're leading 2-1.
Got to be elite at something. Run prevention needs to be our thing.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but also it's not like this is Jackson Merrill made 2 errors, or Jurickson Profar made 2 errors, or even like Xander Bogaerts made 2 errors, or Tyler Wade made. This is Ha-Seong Kim. This is arguably the best infielder in baseball. You could make that argument. Like he's up in that discussion, and like the idea that he had not 1 but 2 errors today is so anomalous that like. Is it frustrating? Is it annoying? Like, of course. But I think it's an argument of losing the forest for the trees.
Well, just because it's anomalous doesn't mean it's not also why the reason happened. It is an anomaly. Yes, Ha-Seong Kim is going to get 990 of these plays out of 1,000. Today, he happened to concentrate 2 of the failures on the same thing, and those were failures that the team couldn't tolerate.
Yes, it's weather, but again, it's weather versus climate. This isn't the conversation that we're having is about the offense, and that's why I'm talking about it in this context. Like, we put ourselves in positions to be vulnerable to an extremely anomalous occurrence because we're not fucking scoring any runs.
Sure.
And so like that's just all I'm trying to say. Like, yes, technically Ha-Seong, like I said, we didn't give up any earned runs today. 0 earned runs. And that's because Ha-Seong Kim made 2 errors. Like the fact that the Giants scored 3 runs. But at the same time, what I'm saying is you are opening yourself up to being vulnerable at the margins like that if you have a completely bifurcated offense, which is like what Craig, it looks like you want to talk about it, and I'll follow up with anything after.
Well, no, I mean, you're 100% right. So the noise is Ha-Seong Kim making 2 errors.
Yes.
The signal is scoring 15 runs for the week, which when I said 8 for the weekend, I'm burying the lead. It's 15 runs in 6 games. You're not going to win shit if you score 15 runs every 6 games. You're going to be the worst team in the league if you score 15 runs every 6 games, because eventually your pitching staff will collapse. And we saw this far too often last year. And frankly, a couple of times this week, and to start and end the week, you started the week with Kyle Gibson going out there and humming sinkers at 91, and the Padres ripping first pitch ground ball outs to the infielders, or second or third pitch ground ball outs to the infielders over and over again. And it ended with Logan Webb, frankly, pitching worse than Kyle Gibson did, but doing the same thing. Just throwing up there, change-ups, sinkers, sweepers, just, throwing balls up in the zone, and the Padres ripping hard ground balls to the infield. And you look up, and the starter has 50 pitches in 5 innings, and they're fresh as a daisy. And no one has seen anything because they're getting up there and they get a pitch they think they can hit. That's the pitcher's pitch. And they rip it to the shortstop. And you have 5-7 pitch innings. So nobody's getting a read. Nobody's getting tells or anything or patterns. And these guys get to go deep into the game and save the other team's pitching staff. It's really frustrating. And honestly, this top 5, the top 6 has been the same for every game. I'm going to give Profar a pass. We can talk about Jurickson Profar is the least of the San Diego Padres' problems offensively. He's a gem. All right.
By results.
Right now.
By results only. Yeah.
By results and performance.
And smile. And
is
vibes.
Kicking ass. He's kicking ass. All right. If you're looking for a problem with this offense, it's not Jurickson Profar. The problem is that the top 5, which has never moved or deviated for 12 games, is struggling. And other than Jake Cronenworth and Fernando Tatis Jr., the other 3 guys are not pulling their weight in that top 5.
They're not.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to go through our offense, our primary offensive lineup right now, and show you kind of what I think is the main issue. And this is not an original thought that I'm having, because this is a thought that John and I talked about on Pods Above Replacement in like the middle of last year, which was last year we had the same issue, which was a complete and total bifurcation of our lineup, where we were very top heavy. And then we had this like 5, 6, 7, where it was like the Carpenter, Cruz, DH. It was Austin Nola at catcher, and it was, Grisham sometimes it was somewhere else. It was just like, there was this dead zone right in the middle of the lineup. Right now, we have Bogey leading off to a 591 OPS. So we're getting nothing from him, and his expected numbers are bad. Then we have Tatis and Crone. Tatis with an 858 and Crone with a 788. Perfectly fine in our 2-3 spot. Then we have our next dead zone, which is Machado and Kim. Manny, who is at a 658 OPS, and I will never, ever stand for the Manny is lazy. I hate that. We don't need to kick that thing up at all. But what I will say is when Manny's struggling, it doesn't look good compared to other players, because he also has the conversation after that, well, we're going to start slugging, which was a line that we heard last year, and it didn't happen. And so Manny's at 658. Kim is at 612 OPS. Those are 4-5 hitters. So we have Tatis and Crone getting on. They're not getting knocked in. We have Profar and Campy at 867 and 865 OPS. Great. Awesome. But then they're
All-star level.
bifurcated. Yeah.
Right.
But then they're bifurcated by our nothing weird amalgamated third base spot in the 8 hole. That Tyler Wade right now is at a 678 OPS, and he's the best out of everyone that's playing there. And then you get down to Merrill, who went 4 for 4 today. His average is up to 324. He's at an 866 OPS, but then he's isolated back again by Bogarts at the top. So we have this just like weird disjointed thing where everyone's playing on a little island. And so, Mike Schultz always talking about like, we're not wasting plate appearances, we're not wasting at bats. It's like, that might be true, but the way that the lineup is constructed right now, there's no conjoined synchronicity at all. There's no chains being built. It's just guys up there doing their own thing. So that's the heart of the problem right now.
Team's just not playing good enough. And the team where most of its resources are allocated are with Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jacob Cronenworth. And, the back half of that are doing fine. But Xander and Manny eating up 2 of the top 4 spots in the lineup forever in perpetuity until Petco Park is eaten by the Tide. When they're hurting, it's not going to go well. And we're going to ask ourselves, is Xander hurt? Is Manny hindering his rehabilitation by serving as DH? Does he look at the other options and feel an obligation to be there? I don't know. It just comes back to the team not being good enough. The Tyler Wade isn't good enough, and I'm glad he's been clutch for the moments that he's been in. Graham Pauley, bless him, happy that he's up here making a big league paycheck for a couple weeks while we don't have a third baseman. But he's overmatched, guys. Like we saw
completely
today. Just
he's
didn't have a chance against Doval. Like you mentioned him running into the slider for his first home run last week, Craig. And as you said in the Discord, there is a 0% chance he's seeing another one of those. He's getting 98, 99 on the outside part of the plate, and he had no chance against it, knowing exactly what was coming and where it was going. So he's a double A-er. Tyler Wade is a quad A-er. I'm glad Jackson Merrill is a major leaguer, but everybody on the roster should be a major leaguer at this point. And the Padres don't have that in their lineup, and they really don't have it in the bullpen.
Well, listen, San Diego Padres baseball might as well etch it in stone above the locker room until the decade is over and these guys are gone, because they are going to make it's early, it's still early, you got to be patient the mantra of the franchise, because what the hell are you supposed to do? Who are you going to bench and for who?
Or move down in the lineup even, it's
I got a suggestion there,
thing.
but like if just as you said, Chris, if Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado don't hit, team's going to have a hard time scoring runs. Period. End of story. And if it's only going to get worse for the next 9 years after this, we're royally rat fucked. Okay? Team ain't going to be anything if that's the case. If they're already an overripe fruit at 31 and 32,
we're done. I don't think we should jump to that. I think that's
okay. So guess what? We're back to tap the sign, tap the thing that's engraved above the locker room. It's early. You got to be patient. They're going to get to where they're going to get.
They got it's the same. We're saying the same thing here. They need another bat right now. They don't need another bat when Manny's playing third base and they need a DH. They need more offense right this second, right now. When Campusano's in the lineup, Higgy Ashioka is going to be, he's going to be the sub replacement at the plate. He got that home run, but his career is pretty defined at who he is. And it hasn't looked overly pretty. So that's 1 out of 3 games that you have an actual near black hole in the lineup. And you can't have guys whose ceiling is just better than black hole. Like, I'm sorry, that's what Tyler Wade is. Like, his ceiling is better than black hole.
We know this. He's the literal replacement player. His face should be on the Wikipedia for replacement players. Should be a guy like me.
Baseball
Hi,
boy.
I'm Tyler Wade. Every once in a while, I'm pretty good. Other days, I do nothing. I'm a very average player all the way around. But you talked about the lineup, and I'm here to push back against the spin that's coming out of the club. Club spin just comes out of whatever direction you're going. It's the right direction. That's what club spin is. No matter what's happening, whatever direction you're going, it's the right direction. It was well decided, and there's so many defendable things about the actions you're taking. So now they talked about it for a whole inning today. Oh, the TV broadcast crew. Now the defendable spin is same lineup every game. Oh, it's the best thing. And when we did our 97.3 The Fan Roundtable, every person went around, except me. Every person went around and said it's the best thing. It's so smart. Hey, Tony Gwynn, what do you think? Oh, you're so comfortable when you come to the ballpark and you know where you're going to be in the lineup. It's just such a benefit, and it's so positive for you, and you just can relax. And well, guess what? We've had the same top 5 in the lineup for 12 games, and for the last 6 games, the lineup has stunk. It stunk. So it's not automatically great to bat the same lineup every single game. That's college baseball. In college baseball, you pretty much throw the same lineup out there every single game because you got 9 kids who can play, and you put them out there in the order you think is best, and you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you take a break. So I'm tired of it. I'm not here to say it's the ultimate way to handle a team, because there's plenty of reasons to change a lineup, like when things aren't working. And right now, things aren't working. So here's the very first thing I would do. I would free Ha-Sung Kim. Ha-Sung Kim is not a number 5 hitter. And by the way, he'll never be a number 5 hitter in his career. Never. I don't care if he goes to whatever team you want to say, and I won't say the team. I don't care what team he goes to. Teams that bat him 5th are going to be disappointed. Okay? Because he's not an elite bat-to-ball player. He doesn't have elite power. He doesn't have an elite hit tool. And when you're the 5 hitter, more often than not, that's your job, is to hit the ball. You got 2 guys on and there's 1 out or 2 outs. Or there's a guy on and there's 2. You got to drive the ball. You got to drive in players. It's an RBI position. 5 hitter is an RBI position. RBIs don't matter. When you're hitting 5th, they matter. They
do matter when you're hitting 5th. Yeah.
You better drive in runs when you're hitting 5th. And guess what Ha-Sung Kim has never done as a skill in his young career, which is not that young. He's at the end of his 20s. He's never driven in runs. That's never been his thing. All right? So, number 1, we're putting our shortstop in a spot in the lineup where his skill set doesn't correlate to the job description. Oh, but where could he hit? How about the place that revolutionized his career? When Bob Melvin moved him to leadoff last season, and he took off. I see 3 things that Ha-Sung Kim does great. Okay? Ha-Sung Kim plays elite defense. That has nothing to do with the offense. Ha-Sung Kim has a good eye in the batter's box. Well, guess what you're not doing when you're hitting 5th? Looking to draw dubs. Looking to draw walks. Like, looking to work the count. You're looking to drive in runs when you're hitting 5th. So he's not working the count. Elite defense doesn't matter for offense. What's the third thing? He runs.
Yeah.
This is a guy who got over 35 steals last year. Well, when you're hitting 5th and there's a guy on first base, like, how many chances do you actually get to steal? I think he's got 1 steal so
3
far this year. So, to me, the first thing Mike Schilt needs to do is move Ha-Sung Kim to the leadoff spot and say, Ha-Sung Kim, cook. We know how good you are up there. Let's let you be the spark plug. Let's let you start to work the count. Let's let that first inning at bat be a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bat where you fouling off pitches. When you get on, When you walk, which you're completely green light, draw a walk, now you can steal second. Now you can force the pitcher into disconnections, right? You can force the pitcher into throwing to first and to ramping up fastballs to Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth. This is good news for the San Diego Padres. What happens when Xander Bogaerts gets on first base? He stays on first base. He just stays there and waits to get hit or walked across the base paths.
He's still back in this series.
Sure, he'll steal 12 this year. Ha-Sung could steal 45 if he was the everyday leadoff hitter.
Ha-Sung is the team leader right now with 3. Like he's fast. He's got a low K rate. He's got a pretty decent walk rate, and it worked last year quite well. I would be just as happy with him if hitting first and with him hitting 8th or 9th, though. I think he'd be good in both spots, better than where he is.
Put Bogaerts down in 5.
Yeah.
I don't look. If Xander's going to stink, if he's going to actually stink, we're screwed. Like, there's just, that's it. We're screwed. Yeah. We lose. That's that. We lose, and and we're in trouble. So I know that Xander will be eligible to hit into more double plays batting 5th than he is batting leadoff. But if we're only batting him leadoff to avoid hitting into double plays,
that's bleak.
That's horrible. That's nightmare fuel. Like, bat him 5th, let his base hits, which is what he gets, drive in runs. Xander doesn't work the count in the classical sense.
Okay, but Mike Schilt and the team had the dude change his position 3 weeks ago. Supposedly done him dirty or 4 or 5 weeks ago in spring training. Welcome in, Xander. You walked in a shortstop, now you're second baseman.
Right.
Part of the manager's job is to keep these guys up and not send them spiraling. Throwing Xander from 1 to 5 less than 2 weeks into the season, that seems like a good way to get a veteran on your team super unhappy, super fast. And I don't know if that's going to work with the club's dynamic. Like they're trapped, man. They're trapped.
That's 2023 shit. I'm not here for that, man. I'm not here for that. If that's the case, then Mike Schilt's going to lose his job at the end of the year, and he can look back in the mirror and talk about an opportunity with Katie Woo down the line. Like he started off by setting the tone of saying we're not doing that with Xander Bogaerts. Now hit. What did you say his OPS was, Raphie?
591.
591. Ray Ordonez. All right. Ray Sanchez.
Well, what's Ha-Sung Kim's?
612.
Way better. I'm just saying, like, you got to listen, consistency, continuity, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about the last skipper we had here who won a World Series. Bruce Bochy has a saying that's ingrained in my brain forever. You keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. We got 15 runs in 6 games. If we think it's so freaking, like, how revolutionary, we don't change the lineup. And that's like our new hack. And it got us a run, 15 runs in 6 games, 2.5 runs a game. Then maybe our hack sucks.
I am with the change, dude. I just have a little bit of I'm with you strategically, tactically. I'm a little different. I think you try to ride the hotter hand, be that getting Campusano up in the lineup. I don't want to see Profar hitting in the top 4, that's for sure.
But Stratomatic, I bet Bogart's 8th.
Thank you, but this isn't Stratomatic.
But it's not Stratomatic.
That's the exact point.
Still the top 5. It's the top 5. Nothing changed.
No,
5 is an important spot in the lineup.
Stratomatic is numbers on cards. OOTP is like binary code that you can punch in. They are not human beings. And for better or worse, the club wins when Xander and Manny win, to paraphrase the whole America wins when GM wins. When those guys are going, the Padres will go. It's truly live by the $30 million infielders or die by the $30 million infielders.
I don't know though, dude, because like if we can get any marginal advantage, why wouldn't we get that marginal advantage? And if the answer is because these guys are veterans and they're paid a lot of money, I find that to be an unsatisfying answer, especially when we went through the ordeal of last year.
In. But and here's the thing: I don't want to like die on the hill of Xander needs to bat first, because that's not what I believe. I just understand why so early on they've kept it. Now, if we're talking about this in May and Xander's still sub 700, if Manny's still sub 700, then we're talking about a team that needs to start trading shit at the deadline to try to restock the farm even more, because they won't be competitive. And that's not the Padres. That hasn't been the Padres in a long time.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we have the Cubs at home and we have the Dodgers in LA. And I don't think there's going to be any changes, if we're being realistic, before those two series are done. I think it's just too early, I think, for Schilt to pull that cord. I'm with you, Craig, that that's what they should do. But if I'm just being honest about what I think is actually going to happen, I don't think changes are going to happen before.
They should set Graham Pauley down tonight. He should not be facing the Cubs tomorrow.
Great. I would be happy if Graham Pauley went down. The problem, and this is well-trodden ground, and I don't want to become a broken record on this, but our left-handed hitters hit 3, 6, and 9 in our lineup, and that also prevents our flexibility. Those guys have to stay where they're staying, because otherwise it opens us up completely later in the game to be exploited by other teams' bullpens. And so that inflexibility has, Jackson Merrill, it doesn't matter how good he's hitting. He's not going to be able to hit leadoff because they're going to keep Machado as the 4 hitter. And if you put Merrill as the leadoff hitter, that would mean you should move Cronenworth to 4 and then put Tatis and Machado 2-3 so that you're not screwing yourself from a handedness lineup standpoint. But they can't do that because they don't have left-handed bats to pepper in there. And so, we can just say Brandon Belt. We said his name there. We don't need to say his name again. It's done. But
I wish if we said his name 3 times, he appeared in the room you were in.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a chance that who knows, that they have once Machado's off of the DH and back onto the field, that they have some open offer to Brandon Belt. It's if you don't get a better offer by this date, I know I saw John Percoda post that in the Discord earlier. I'm paraphrasing him, and that might be true, but this is AJ. This is what he does. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about building handedness into lineups. We're 10 years into this experiment, so this team is going to live and die at this moment until I'm proven wrong. That's just it's the offense. It's the offense. It's the offense. It's the offense. It's the inflexibility. It's the inflexibility. It's the inflexibility. It's a tale as old as time at this point, and I don't know what else to say about it.
No, you're right. I mean, and because of the inflexibility, the offense will remain the same. So hopefully we'll keep doing what we're doing, but we'll get something different. And that's going from Bochyism to Schilteism. We'll just do the exact same thing and maybe everything will change. So that takes me to the other obvious thing. Right-handed relief on this team is a gigantic fucking problem. It's a huge problem. Robert Suarez is fine. And when you get to the very end of things, I mean, look, if you need to cover 2 or 3 innings, Pedro Avila can cover 2 or 3 innings. That's fine. In low leverage, it looks like Enyel De Los Santos is, okay. Like 100 other relievers around Major League Baseball. He's okay. You want to put him out there, it's It's okay. But when you need a guy, Padres don't have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Twice today, the Padres needed a guy. They turned to Stephen Kolek, who is Rule 5, and he did better than the other guy, who was Johnny Brito, who once again came in and showed me that $1 million arm and that 10-cent head. Oh, 98. Oh, ooh, so pretty. Why don't we use that more? Because every single time it's in the middle of the plate. It's in the middle of the plate. It's elevated. He's a sinker ball. Oh, the stuff plus on his sink. Not if the sinker's in the high middle of the plate. Then it's just garbage. Just a trash pitch. And in terms of exit velo allowed, Johnny Brito's got to lead the team. I mean, I don't have the StatCast in front of me, but he's got to lead the team in exit velo allowed. Everything he gives up is ripped through the infield, liners into the outfield. He's not giving up bombs yet, but he's not an 8th inning reliever. He is not the guy that you hand the ball to nestle a 2-1 game from the 7th to the 9th. No way. Like, go get 15 straight scoreless outings and prove me wrong, Johnny Brito. But I'm sorry. I was really disappointed when I saw him in the game, and he immediately blew the game.
He was set up all spring training to be a starter, like we talked about earlier or last week. And then Dylan Cease comes, he gets pushed out of the rotation. And I don't think Bro has recovered from that. Like, I don't think he's made the adjustment needed to go back to being relief. All of his misses are bad. And when he does try to get those pitches low in the zone, Craig, they're not even close. Like, you can see it on all of his heat charts. It's just not good. And he does have the physical talent to be a major league pitcher, but they've got to do the next man up. There's lots of people with options on this team that you can call up and send back down if they don't work. Put Johnny down there as your starting pitching depth, or get him transitioned to relief, because the dude is not coming out prepared to do the job required.
I want to talk about what happened not just today, but also yesterday. Yesterday, the Padres had an unbelievable performance from Michael King. Put up 7 innings. At the end of the game, going into the 9th inning, the Padres were still up 4-0, non-save situation. And Mike Schilt trouts out Robert Suarez, and who throws 16 pitches. So theoretically, should be available today, but maybe not for a full tilt, maybe not for a 5-out save, which is when he decided to make the change after Yuki Matsui, I think, had thrown 7 pitches, something like
I would have left in Yuki Matsui for sure.
7 or 8 pitches, and like, yes, Yuki had that one blow up game, but it was clear that was a game in which he just did not have it. And every other, if you take that one game out, I don't think he's given up a run. And so the decision yesterday to put in Suarez in a non-save situation to try and, okay, we're just going to lock up this win, like whatever, meant that maybe you couldn't call on Robert Suarez to throw 30 pitches today or whatever it was going to take to get those 5 outs. So you had to put in Brito. Now, of course, we're talking about situations where, you know, Ha-Seong Kim made 2 errors today that put the pitchers into kind of compromising positions that they wouldn't necessarily have been in. You know, Johnny Brito did get his inning-ending double play ball. It just was dropped by Ha-Seong Kim, but he also gave up, 3 or 4 hits? 3 hits and 5 batters he faced? Something like that?
Yeah. None of them hit all that hard.
Yeah, and
sure they were. Chapman's ball was ripped. The other one to the left was ripped. I mean, like, he gives up line drive contact. And I remember when the runners were on, I wrote in the Discord, he's going to have to get a lucky double play here where someone hits the ball hard at somebody. And that's what happened. He got an Adam ball to Jake Cronenworth, but he's not. Matt Waldron got acres more soft contact than Johnny Brito did with the elite stuff, because his elite stuff doesn't have great movement, and he's putting it, and so he needs elite location. And so far, his location has been trash. And that's why he is getting beat. I don't hate Johnny Brito or anything, but I hate seeing Johnny Brito in the 8th inning. They've tried it 3 times. He's 0 for 3. He is 0 for 3. He has given it up 3 times in the 8th inning. And quite frankly, I don't want to see Stephen Kolek in close games either. So, like, where are we? We're at De Los Santos. Well, he didn't get the job done on Friday. So maybe that's why he didn't get the call in the 8th inning today. This is a problem. And as you guys said, there's options down below. But here's the thing. We're back to inflexibility, Raphie. AJ makes his decisions on holding as many of his pieces as he possibly can. And I understand. It's tough to give up a guy. Avila, who I would have completely given up, surely would have been claimed by someone in Big League Baseball. And when he pitches long relief, he does fine. But because of that, you don't have another power right-handed arm in the bullpen. Because you've kept Stephen Kolek, who you cannot send down, that's another choice of another player that's not here, a Vasquez or an Estrada that isn't here, that could be here instead. And the only reason I think Morejon is down is because they have an option. And so they sent him down because they've got the option to send him down. So we're not making the decisions in the bullpen based on who are the best 8 relievers in our organization that can get the outs at the right time. We've punted like 2 or 3 of those decisions to, well, we want to keep this guy, so we'll send the other guy down, and that way we've got everybody. What if someone gets hurt? And they're right. What if someone gets hurt? Avila could step into the rotation. I get it, but I'm sorry. It's every time a righty comes out that's not Suarez, I'm worried.
They did the same thing last year, for what it's worth, with Nabil Krismat for far too long, where he pitched in probably 3 too many games before they finally let him go.
I have one more thing I wanted to say about the whole Kolek thing coming in, and it has to do with what happened at the beginning of that inning. So I believe that was the top of the bottom of the 6th inning.
Bottom 6.
When that all happened. The Giants were right back at the top of their lineup. Jung-Hoo Lee was leading off for them that inning, and he reached on a fielding error by Ha-Seong Kim. He just airmailed a throw, no 2 ways about it. I don't believe that Matt Waldron should have been left in to start that inning, because
agree. Totally agree.
We've talked about the 3rd time through penalty constantly. Waldron threw fantastic 2 times through the order, and the Giants had a lefty, a righty, and a lefty coming up to start that inning. And you had Tom Cosgrove sitting in the bullpen, who had only thrown 10 pitches on Saturday, and he didn't throw any pitches on Friday. And if we're talking about Stratomatic, if we're talking about maximizing stuff, if we're saying that Mike Schultz different than Bob Melvin, and he actually does give a shit about this 3rd time through the order stuff, Matt Waldron should never have been out there. He threw 5 great innings, scoreless baseball, and you take that, and then you have to hand it over to there. And my thinking is that Schilt doesn't trust his bullpen, and that's why he left him in there.
100%.
That's the original sin of all of this.
I completely disagree with you. I was absolutely stoked to see Matt Waldron go out, because he had pitched 5 shutout innings of fantastic ball, and would have had 6 shutout innings had Kim not airmail a ball, nearly into the dugout. He's looking at Lee out, Wade got a pretty decent single, Soler out, facing down Conforto, who he had, handled. And behind him you had Chapman, which if Conforto gets on, you have Chapman, who he's also gotten out. So, I know in the Stratomatic, in the OOTP, in the world of binary code, if I was playing the game, I probably would have done the same thing. But this is a human being who was absolutely rolling. I am from the school that Blake Snell got taken out too fucking soon in the World Series, because we all have eyes and saw that happen. But that, according to the spreadsheet, according to the 3rd time through the lineup call, Kevin Cash did the absolute right thing. And I think that's wrong, man. Like, I generally completely agree with you guys that Waldron should not be a third time through the lineup guy, because all you have to do is look at his stats and see where it is. But watching him today in the moment, knowing what I know about the bullpen, knowing what you guys have said about the bullpen, that you don't trust it, how can you blame Mike Schilt for not trusting it?
Because
Okay.
Go ahead,
Craig. I'm sorry. I have to respond to that, though.
Because we know when Waldron starts the 6th inning that there's going to be traffic on the base paths. These guys are seeing him a third time. It's not Blake Snell. He's not throwing 97. He's not throwing 97 with a slider and a curveball and a changeup.
Have you seen Matt Waldron's expected FIP and FIP?
He's done
on
great.
The year.
And if you protect him, he'll do fine. But if you expose him, he won't do as fine.
He would have done fine if Kim doesn't make a friggin' error. He's fine. Like, his performance today backs it up.
Listen, you're 1v2 on this one, because I really enjoyed that episode of Pods Above Replacement, and I thought it made a great fucking point. And the point was, even an average mediocre reliever is going
Padres
to be better
reliever in 2024
is going to be better over the course of an inning than everyone but the elite starters the third time through. And it was the same for Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo as it is for a guy who's not as good as either one of those guys, and yet I love him in Matt Waldron. So I would have been fifth starter, 5 and dive. There's a reason that expression exists. 5 good innings and dive. Get to the bullpen. Stephen Kolek starting an inning, or much better, off Cosgrove or Peralta starting the inning, allows you to have the platoon matchup on 3 out of 4 and the ability to wiggle around a base runner. But as soon as Waldron has 2 on and he's out of there with 1 out, now we're bringing in a Rule 5 kid with the go-ahead run at the plate. And I don't like that situationally. So I'm 100% with Rafe, and I just believe for the entire year, Matt Waldron should face 18 batters to start. I really do feel that way.
I just don't disagree. I just don't agree at all. Tom Cosgrove, 12.6 ERA, 5 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. You can go
6
up and
in a
down
game.
the list.
6 in a game.
We're talking about nothing sample sizes, though, is the issue.
I know we're talking about nothing sample sizes, and over the course of a season, making sure that he only goes 18 might work out better. But this is a small sample size in a situation in which the guy had been great all game long. Fantastic. And has been fantastic all this year. Like, I will not second guess Mike Schultz's decision to let him pitch in that 6 for a second.
Okay, I am. It's just like, I know there's like a really fun idea of we're just feeling it in our nuts. Like, he's got it. Like, Waldron's got it. And it's
not just in my nuts, in the actual results of the game. Not in my heart, not in fantasy land, in Oracle Park today, this afternoon.
He looked great in those first 5 innings. And I'm just saying,
and in the 6th inning.
But an approach is made over the course of a season by making those little decisions every day. And if we're not going to make those little decisions every day, then we're not going to have that over the year approach.
I'm going to leave my starter in, who has thrown 5 shutouts, a chance to throw a 6th shutout. That's going to be my process every day.
Well, and it really is. It's process versus results. The argument in favor is the result. Kim botched a ground ball, or else he would have gotten through the inning potentially. The process is we didn't set everyone up for success. And in the 8th, we didn't set up anyone for success. And yes, if Kim catches the ball, Brito gets out of the inning and everything's hunky-dory. But that doesn't mean the process was right. If I go all in with a pair of 10s and there's a queen and an ace on the board and I get snap called and then a 10 peels off on the turn, I won probably, but it doesn't mean that my process was right. And that means that I'll fail in the long term because I've got the incorrect process. I think Schilt's process is... I love Mike Schilt, okay? I really like this guy. I'm glad he's our manager. I don't think starting the exact same lineup in the exact same order every day is a fucking innovation. I think it's the opposite of that. I think it is just writing the same lineup every day. It's Gene Mock baseball. And leaving in my starter because he started he pitched 5 innings when he's danced his way through 5 innings, and Tatis had to run 6 miles to catch the ball with 2 outs in the 5th.
That's ignoring actual data. Like, it wasn't dancing through. Dude has got piss. He's getting piss poor contact out of opposing hitters. It's not just, guts.
Third time through, though.
What one feels in his plums.
When are they going to get to him the third time through? That's when. So avoid that, and you've got a better chance to win a 2-1 game.
If you have more than one reliever who's not named Robert Suarez who you can trust, I'm totally with you.
Also fair.
The Johnny Brito, bringing him in, if your process is bringing Johnny Brito in leverage situations, I feel like the sample size is large enough to show that you should not do that, right? Like, I'm with you there. I just think if Matsui can come out and log a 6-pitch inning in the 7th, maybe he's in longer than the 8th. Like, I do not fault the decision for trying to get that inning to Waldron.
Okay. Well, I think we've all staked out our positions as firmly as we can.
I think this is great, by the way. I think this is really good discussion. Like, and I think it's like, I think that there are 100%, because the thing is that, like, there's a data answer and there's a not data answer, but there are people who are on both sides. And I think it's good that we're representing, like, all of it, because I think because at the end of the day, we are Monday morning quarterbacking right now. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So this is great. This was a really good discussion.
Look, bottom line, 15 runs in 6 games. You're trash. You're trash.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the offense. It's the offense.
You're the worst team in the league.
Yeah, you guys actually brought this up when I was talking about the Dodgers having a bad infield defense, and me going, "Oh, maybe that's the rivet that breaks when it hits some ice." But then the Dodgers went on to score 5 or more runs every game until yesterday or today.
Right. In fact, let's do this just for fun, just real quick, okay? Because I did a piece of this on either the roundtable or on my show, I forget. But this is the Padres day by day offense: 2, 15, 6, 3, 6, 13, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2.
Sounds like last year.
So what are we day after day, right? What happens if we're down 3-0 in the first inning with a run distribution like that? 80% of the time you're dust. 80% of the time you're dust. Okay. We hate them. We want to murder them. We don't really want to murder them. We want them to be embroiled in season-long scandal. The Doyers. 5, 11, 7, 6, 5, 5, 8, 5, 5, 7, 4, 1. What happens when you're down 3-0? What happens when you're down 4-0? Nothing happens.
Meaningless.
You're set. You're fine. Not until you're down 6-0 that you're even worried.
The Dodgers.
What's that?
I thought you meant if you're playing the Dodgers. If you're playing the Dodgers and you're up 3-0, 4-0, you still got to watch your ass.
Yeah. Nothing matters. Yeah. Nothing matters. You better score some more.
Yeah.
You better not take your foot off the gas pedal. Like, so there it is. You know, we don't expect the Padres to score like the Dodgers. You know, no one should expect the Padres to score like the Dodgers. The Dodgers might have the 3 best hitters almost ever lined up 1, 2, 3. They're going to score runs all the fucking time. But the Padres can't score 2 runs over and over again and expect to do anything. They got to be in that 4 and 5 category. And when they get to the 4 and 5 category, then I will get all over Mike Schilt for making poor pitching decisions that lead to losses. But right now, what's happening is the same thing we saw over and over again. The team gets up 1 or 2-0. They just go, that's it. Those are your runs. Carry it across the finish line. And it's really hard for a pitching staff to take that from the 1st to the 9th inning and just carry it all the way. You got to tack on. You got to continue to be a relentless offense. This team is the opposite of that. We're the most static offense right now. And we're static in every literal sense. Oh, what's the lineup? I can tell you what it is tomorrow. Want me to write it down for you? Well, is Paulie going to start or Wade? Oh, is it a lefty? Well, hang on. We'll put a Zokar in.
They better not.
Yeah, dude. They cannot take Merrill out right now.
Yeah, they can't. You can't take Merrill out. You can't even take him out.
If I may, just to look a little forward to the next few games with the Cubs coming to town, because they have a similar thing that you just mentioned for the Dodgers. Going back to last Sunday, the Cubs have scored 9, 5, 12, 9, 9, 1, 8. Okay? Their offense has been better than the Dodgers' offense this week. All right? They're coming to town. And if you look at the probables grid, first of all, the Cubs and Dodgers were in a 3-hour delay today. So the Cubs had to play a super long game. I'm sure they're getting into San Diego late tonight to turn around and play tomorrow. And the pitching matchups are Yu Darvish versus Javier Assad, Joe Musgrove versus Drew Smyly, and Dylan Cease versus Kyle Hendricks. We have the advantage in every single one of those games.
Assad dealt last time.
But I still
against
will
Colorado.
take Yu Darvish.
I will take against Colorado.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
I will take Yu Darvish over Javier Assad every time. And
yeah,
like I this is kind of like, for me, the litmus test series of where the team is at right now, because we're gonna go to LA next weekend, and like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And and it's gonna be King, Waldron, and Darvish back up in LA. And we'll talk about that probably when we do group therapy this week later. But this Cubs series is one where it's like, this is an NL Central team. They're not going to they're not projected to win more than 90 games. They're going to be in that mid to high 80s potentially. And that's where we want to be if we want to make the wild card. And if we're going to come and just limp into the series and not have any offense, and it's Petco Park in April, like what are you going to do? And there were still weird start from Korea, like we didn't have a full spring training and all that. So it's like, at that point, like what are we doing? So I'm watching this series really, 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 really intently.
Last thing, Juan Soto 886 OPS, Jurickson Profar 885. We did it.
We won the trade.
We replaced him at 1/31st of the cost. Let's go.
All right, you ready? You ready for this?
I am.
Jurickson Profar's WOBA right now 395. Fucking amazing. All right. Do you want to guess what his expected WOBA is?
140.
311.
289.
Okay.
So
still, that
enjoy
means
enjoy
he's
the
still
smiles.
making better contact than I thought.
Expectations aren't positivity, man. Expectations are the thief of joy. We already know that.
That's true.
We already know that.
Yeah.
Jurickson's about the actual joy, not the expectation.
Before we go, I really want to play this Bob Scanlon clip.
What is the Bob Scanlon clip?
I sent it to you on the Discord.
He sent it to us.
Oh, I closed the Discord because it wraps up.
Allow me
Wi-Fi.
to play the Bob Scanlon clip for you. We can just do quick reactions before we go.
Okay. What's he doing? Singing? What's going on?
He's put the microphone down. We got to do play-by-play. We can't hear it probably because your headphones are plugged in.
Looking at his headset.
True. So
no, hey, don't unplug your headphones.
Tell me what to do.
I can play it on my phone because you sent it to me.
Mr. Smart Man.
Mr. Smart Man, indeed. Hang on. I got it.
More disappointing news. Well, you can look at it one of two ways. Disappointing that the Oakland A's are going to be moving away from Oakland. They've signed a contract to play at Sacramento next season, the home of the Sacramento River Cats. That's Sutter Health Park. The good news is, well, maybe this is an opportunity for Sacramento to show that they can be a major league club. There's a lot of talk about expansion. Nashville is one of those clubs, and who knows, maybe Sacramento gets a chance to showcase themselves as well. But you can't blame the Oakland A's. They've been paying $1.5 million rent.
Can't blame the A's.
Oakland said, you know what, we're going to up that a little bit to $19 million a year. Oakland said, thanks, but no thanks. The other interesting thing, they're not going to be the Oakland A's anymore. Starting next year, it'll just be the A's until they presumably move to Las Vegas. Down in Mud, a lot going on in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's quite a different scale. That's quite a jump.
Yeah, from 1.5 to 19 million a year.
Yes.
Wow. Inflation.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's a tough situation. And Oakland also, they wanted a 5-year, $97 million commitment from the Oakland organization. And you understand why John Fisher said, no, we just can't do that anymore. He also has a good working relationship and a friendship with the owner of the Sacramento River Cats. So a lot going into that deal, but it's really sad.
What kind of bootlicking
It is truly
is
sad.
this?
that is
It
some
is truly
billionaire
sad.
panty sniffing by Bob Scanlon.
I genuinely have questions about this because I was shocked when you sent this to us, Chris, and thank you for pulling this clip because I'm wondering if this is like now that MLB runs our broadcast, like we're doing like bootlicking in that sense now, I guess we're doing the bidding
Manfred
of Rob
propaganda.
Manfred. Yeah, that's number one. And number two, like what's going on with Bob and Don where like do they not know like what happened in our city like 7-8 years ago, like
Yeah.
is there no like recollection, like they were both there like when this was happening? I don't know.
And just to be
I was
different,
That's one of the worst
like,
things I've ever heard.
his point is there's a big increase from $1.5 million to $19.5 million. That's for a Major League Baseball club worth billions of dollars to
No.
use the stadium.
No.
Like
That ain't it.
That's less than Joe Musgrove is going to make this year.
That ain't it. Leases are leases. Leases are negotiated.
Yes.
$1.5 million is a rate. Just because they're $1 billion club doesn't mean they have to pay 10 times that because they're $1 billion club. That's not it. What's it is why? Why did Oakland raise their rent
Yeah,
from
sure.
$1.5 million to $19 million? It's because the team announced it's leaving.
Yes.
And they couldn't leave the Bay Area and keep their TV deal. So it was a directly negotiated FU to the club, which had FU'd them back because they didn't come to an agreement on a very generous plan for a stadium, and the gap between the club and the city was literally $97 million. So they came up with a 5-year lease for $97 million because the
Yes.
A's already said they were leaving. So to
Right.
spin it as, oh, well, the A's were going to stay, but then, oh, look at the rent. Oh, boy, price of eggs has gone up. Sure hasn't it, Don? Wow, that sure seems like a lot. 1 to 19. That seems like a bad deal. Like that. Listen, Bob is one of the tallest people around, which means apparently he can carry more water than anybody. and he carried 2 jumbo pails right there. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. It is just such corporate shilling that it's honestly disgusting. And like having heard that now, I'm like really debating in my mind, like, do I want to light a torch on the Padres flagship and play that? Because I'll tell you what, one thing Annie can't stand is the way that the A's have treated Oakland. And lighting that candle, like we've got no choice but to say that Bob Scanlon just this is like if we had don't do this, I'd just play that clip.
The
And
way
I'd just
Major
say,
League
"Don't do
Baseball
this."
treated Oakland. Like
Yeah.
this has been an embarrassment for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
The way they've
Also-
enabled this dude.
$1.5 million a year. That was the taxpayers paying for the A's to be there. You think
Yes.
you think that Oakland was making money on their $1.5 million that
course
they were
not.
getting from the A's organization? Of course
A
not.
year.
Of course they weren't. Like that's like that was I'm sure carryover from the past when the Raiders were there and they were getting breaks on everything and they had Mount Davis put in and they ruined that stadium, which used to have a beautiful view of the hills over Oakland. And yeah, anyway, thanks for pulling that up. I'm glad we're ending on this note because it's just we're not the A's, which is a good thing, but for this to be on our broadcast is fucking disgusting.
Absolutely, dude. I wanted to finish again with something that made me mad about the team truly and the fan experience. Last week it was raw pizza, and this week it's tall, corporate bootlicking shills.
Made me ticked off.
Good.
Like that just ticked me off. Come on, Scan. Stick to the fucking split finger grip. Like, I'm sorry. Who told you? Who wrote that for you? Don't
I
tell me
feel
that's
like it
your
was an
real opinion.
audition. He praised both billionaires. The Vivek guy who owns the
He's good
AAA
friends with
club in
Vivek, so
Sacramento.
pretty
Maybe
cool.
it was
Team
his
loses his
audition tape.
57-year home, but hey, by the way, he's friends with a billionaire down the street, and maybe it'll be nice for Sacramento. So I guess there's two sides to every story. Don, back to you.
Yeah. They have houses in Cabo that they share, guys. They have beachfront property together, and that's why these guys have such a great working relationship. You ever been to Cabo,
guys.
Mud?
Hey, fun fact, guys. The team's moving to Sacramento, but it won't take the name Sacramento. It'll just be called the Athletics. So, hey, that's fun. But hey, did you hear about that rent increase? Woo-wee! Back to you, Don. Fucking hell. John Fisher, you suck. Anybody who backs the A's sucks. And that means right now, Scan, you suck. And I know you don't suck. You gave up some bombs in your days. You gave up some doubles in the gap. You walked the bases loaded and then gave up a yak. Like, those things happened, but none of those sucked. You were still a big leaguer, one of 20-something thousand. You're amazing. But that take stunk. Dump it. Everyone's got their worst day. There it is. Holy cow. Padres hot tub. Scan, do better. Let's go, man. Appreciate you. I've known you for years. Do better than that.